How can we have free will if God knows all? If God knows every decision that you could ever make? Welcome to episode number 2 of ADHD TV. Thanks for watching. But we're diving headfirst into some spiritual and philosophical territory. Now, whether you're a Christian, an atheist, or a believer of some other religion, most likely you've heard of Jesus. And one question that I see many believers, pastors, priests struggle with answering is the question of free will and God knowing all, God's knowledge of the future. And that was a question that I struggled with myself to understand. Theoretically, how could we have free will if God knows all? Because it does make sense. If God knows all, if reality is predetermined, then free will would be nothing more than an illusion. But I've come to a conclusion that lets both theories of God knowing all and humans having free will exist in one reality. Now let's talk about what free will might be. And although there are other religions out there, I'm limiting this to the perspective of a Christian because that's what I am. As a Christian, through my own research and understanding, I believe free will to be the ability to resist impulse, to resist temptation, to resist instinct. Now, how I came to this conclusion is actually quite simple because I've not only used the research from other articles, texts in the Bible, but the evidence from my own experience of reality. We are not the only creatures on the planet that act off of impulse, emotion, love, hate, fear, anxiety, etc. And we know this because we see this in almost all other life. If you have a pet, you know your pet has a sense of love, has a sense of safety. If you have a pet, you know that there is an emotional bond between you and that pet. Whether it's a good pet or a bad pet, there's some emotional link between the two of you. Same with animals and other animals, people and other people. Emotions are an experience we share with many other organisms. A mother giving her life to protect her child, or a mother running away and neglecting her child. Now, why would a mother give her life for her child? Seems like an easy answer. Because she loves them, because she fears for them, because that child may bring her joy. Now, why might a mother run away from her child? Maybe she fears for herself. Maybe that child brings her sadness. She might even hate herself and feel unfit for motherhood. My point is, emotions play at least 50% of the role in our decision making as human beings, and probably about 100% of the role in the decision making of all other life. Emotions are beautiful, terrifying, and they make life worth living. But as humans, we are given a next level state of being, state of consciousness. And with this ability, we can determine potential outcomes in the future from our actions now. We can literally weigh future good or bad consequences from the choices we make in this moment. Now, what that means is we can experience an instinctual emotional response and then choose to or not to act on it. For example, you hold a tennis ball up to a dog and you throw it across a field. Now, a dog sees that and has this instinctual, emotional response to chase it. It's probably feeling excited and playful. Now, if you're hanging out with your friend, you hold up a tennis ball to them and you throw it. Your friend isn't going to go chasing after the tennis ball like a dog. Now, a better example would probably be animals in heat. Now, when most animals in heat find each other, they're getting to it. Now, you being a guy or a girl, it's likely you've experienced some sort of sexual impulsiveness, sexual tension. But two strangers feeling this way and then bumping into each other at a club doesn't mean they're going to drop everything, start getting to it now, later, or ever. And that's because we have the ability of choice, the ability to think deeply and weigh the consequences of our actions, the ability to resist and conquer instinctual and emotional response. Now let's talk about how God knows all. Many times in my life, I've struggled to understand this topic. And my evidence as a Christian for God knowing all is the Bible. But what would be the point of putting any thought into good or bad decision if our destiny was predetermined? Now, if you think like this, or you've asked yourself this question, I want you to know you're thinking in a box limited to humans' understanding of reality. Because if God knows all, then why or how could he not know every possible good and bad decision that we could make. So my theory is, yes, God can see the future, but he sees the future of every right and wrong decision you could ever make. He sees every branch of reality that you could possibly create for yourself and for the people in your life that you affect with your choices. He sees you becoming the worst possible version of yourself, but also the best possible version of yourself. He sees the version of you that lends a hand to someone struggling, and also the version of you that walks by them. He sees the version of you that puts somebody down, but also the version of you that lifts someone up, that puts the shopping cart in its rack, and the version of you that leaves it in a parking space, the version of you that resists temptation, and the version of you that succumbs to it. So the theory of a multiverse like we see in these superhero movies and shows, or one determined universe, are perfect philosophies to believe in when asking yourself, why me? Why should I make the right choice, the selfless choice? My fate is predetermined. Or there's an infinite number of me that make the right choice and the wrong choice. What a perfect excuse to allow sin into your heart and your mind and your choices. So just know that every version of you exists with God, and every choice you make is a stone you add to your path of life, and he's witness to every single one of them. Well, thank you for watching episode 2 of ADHD TV by Illumid. It took me about 2 weeks to get this next episode out. I'm gonna try and move a little faster. We'll see what happens. But like, subscribe, send this to someone who you think will enjoy it, and comment your own ideas and theories below. I'm very interested in outside perspectives and beliefs, so I'd love to see what y'all have to say. But thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.